And welcome to another edition of CSU Lakers Show at the Loch with Coach Vince Alexander. I'm your host, David Jones. Want to wish everybody a happy holidays as we gear up to get ready for Christmas as well as the new year. Hope everybody's doing well. Tonight's show's no different. We're going to talk about the past couple games and as we get ready to head into Peach Belt Conference play. Um, man, Coach A, one win away from the total from last year already.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Already.
I'd like to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and getting right to it. Yeah, one win away from matching last year's total. We probably should have been there already, but we
Yeah,
gave up a few. But that's okay. It was all like we said, we use those as an opportunity to learn, and I think we've done a lot of learning. And, I think our guys are gearing up and they're getting ready for conference. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to fare well. Looking forward to competing and, looking forward to competing for one of those playoff spots.
absolutely. And one of the big things as I look at this team this year, we've talked about this multiple times on the show previously. You can see the culture is completely different. And it's not to say it was bad last year. That would be egregious to say that, but
Hmm.
to see these guys buying in and seeing their confidence build, like with the big victories against Clark, with an impressive victory against Albany State this past Thursday, which was a really big win, and I think it was needed to go into Peach Belt play. And some of the close games that you guys have played, like the North Georgia game, is basically letting everybody know Clayton State is here. And, yes, it was a 3-point loss, and you guys are right there all the way in it to the end and had some opportunities to claim that victory. But it's showing that, these guys understand that they got a chance and not just a chance to, improve. No, the whole goal is to get to that Peach Belt Conference tournament and, get to the D2 tournament.
Yeah. We feel like we're a team that can compete for that. Just what you said. We think we can compete for a spot in that Peach Belt tournament as well as a spot in the NCAA tournament. We played a tough schedule, um, and we played some good games. We, like you said, number 9 Georgia, North Georgia, played them. Another one that we gave away, but nevertheless, we learned from that as well. We didn't finish down the line as we should have, maybe a couple of questionable calls, but that happens during the course of a game. So you got to take care of what you got to take care of. Can never let the game come down to official making a call or not making a call. So we're excited about our opportunities, Dave. And we definitely think we can compete for one of those spots in both tournaments this year. So God willing, that's the case for us.
Yeah, and and watching, a lot of these guys start to really get these opportunities and taking big advantage of it. DJ Wright, we talk about the D3 transfer, him transferring up and you having the confidence to put the ball in his hand, and he's doing a great job, and it was some learning, like I said, learning the offense, but he's stepping up, he's playing well. And JoJo Bell, man, he's looking like, man, I'm looking at JoJo like he got an opportunity to be an all conference player playing the
Yeah,
way he
yeah,
did, and I like what JoJo's bringing. He brings that tenacity, he brings that athleticism, and he was 7 for 7. He shot 100% last game.
yeah. I mean, JoJo, you know, we love JoJo from the time we laid eyes on him. He's a winner. He really is. And he got off to a slow start. He missed almost the whole season last year. So he had an injury that ended his season last year early. But he's starting to get to a good form. He's really showing his athleticism, his ability to defend, to score on all three levels a great offensive rebounder. Um, he's tough, man. He really is. He's tough. He can be very very special. And like you mentioned, DJ Wright. He's starting to. He had a little injury that set him back at Morehouse, and I think he's starting to get back into form and starting to play well. So, we're excited. We're excited about those guys along with some other guys. You know, we think, like you said, we got a good shot.
And no, and those were just two that I mentioned off the back of my head. But by no means do I want to discount with the rest of the team. What Lay Brown is bringing. Um, even down to, boy, that was a pleasant surprise last game. You having the confidence to put Mason Pierre in the game and coming up big with 9 points.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where I tell people all the time, like, you have to be ready when your number is called,
Yes,
because
you do.
you never know. And in looking at that, I just really look at it as, man, I mean, when you look on paper and then you see him jump in the game, you're like, okay, he's not getting that many minutes, but you have that confidence to say, listen, I need you to give some minutes to give our team a boost. And he stepped up big. He stepped up big with 9 points. And that's one of those games against the Albany State team. Like, you need these games for the guys to understand, like, listen, going into Peach Belt, everybody is going to be needed. Once everybody gets healthy, like you said, a few nagging injuries here and there, and one player that's getting ready to come back. But once you have a full squad, I fully understand that Clayton State will be a team that will surprise some people going into Peach Belt Conference.
Yeah, we think we definitely can contend. Hopefully we'll get Christian Chambers back, who's a flat out scorer. We've missed him for about four, maybe 5 games, 4 games at least.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with him being out, so he'll get an opportunity to come back hopefully after the break. Um, and Mason Pierre, he stepped up, and his opportunity came. He stepped up, stepped in, and did a great job. We've said all along from the first show you aired with me that we got great depth. You know, our bench probably averages over 30 points a game
Mm-hmm.
from the bench. So that's important, and that's great. That's guys playing their role, buying into their role, starting in their role, and enjoying their role. So we were very happy for Mason, and we're looking forward to getting some guys back, possibly adding a couple of um, transfers next semester that hopefully that can come in and help as well.
Oh yeah, and like you said, I never doubt what you got in that deck of cards, because you just never know. You bring in one of them transfers, and I'm looking around like, okay, where you get this one from? And just seeing, hopefully those transfers mesh in and continue to play well with this team, which will make you even more of a formidable opponent. I just look at this like, man, this is that year of what you've been looking for to turn things around at Clayton State, to get it in that direction that you've been looking for since you first stepped foot on Clayton State's campus.
Yeah, we have, and like you mentioned earlier, Dave. We're not bashing last year's team at all,
Mm-hmm.
but the reality is they didn't play together. They didn't share the ball, and they played me basketball. And I think the great thing about this team is they're playing team basketball. They share the ball. I believe last game we had 26 assists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're sharing the ball, and they enjoy sharing the ball. They enjoy watching one another perform and do well. When a guy's doing well, they're happy. And that's a change. That is a difference. And we don't have guys that are have their own alternative motives. We have guys that have one motive. Let's put Clayton State on the map.
I agree. And even down to, some of the people that don't pay attention to some of the guys that are just as important, like Tahai Morgan. He's a freshman. He's learning. And you
He's
can
learning.
see, yeah, with him learning, it's only going to make him better down the line. And you can see, I can see you giving him those minutes to say, okay, I want you to learn behind DJ. But you can see like you're giving him more and more confidence, but like, okay, I'm calling you in now. I'm not calling you in at the end of the game. Like, I'm giving you this experience that you're going to need because, like we said, we never know when somebody's number is going to be called, or unfortunately, if somebody goes down, and it's okay, I need you to handle this. And like I said, Tahai and boy, the welcoming back of Marcus Harris. I'm telling you, that's going to be a big addition as well, with Marcus coming back as also.
Yeah, Ty, I think, he's really starting to come together. Young freshman, learning a lot, growing, very coachable. He's Ty's going to be special. Ty is going to be special,
Mhm.
and we love him. He defends at a high level. For a high school kid, he comes in, he defends at a high level. He's still learning a lot of things off the screen and roll. He's learning a lot of reads. It's like having a freshman quarterback. You got to learn the reads. You got to learn, all the different cuts and so on and so forth. He's still learning all that, but he's getting it because he's so coachable and he defends at a high level, you know. So, that's been very um, refreshing to see. And Marcus Harris' return is also going to create so much more depth. I mean, he was a freshman that played half season last year and half season this year. So really, he hadn't really gotten the experience that he really needs. But he's been in practice. He works hard. He's very coachable, and he did a good job with the time he had on Thursday night, did a good job, for his first game out. He's only going to get better. And he is a high level defender as well.
Absolutely. One of the big things, Coach, that I think is going to be pertinent going into conference play is going to be the front court. Man, the front court is going to be like, we're going to need Lay Davis. We're going to need Giannis Woods. We're going to need Eddie Page. We're going to need those guys to step in and come up big. And I'm not always saying they got to come up with 10, 15, 20 points. It's coming down to the dirty work, points in the paint, rebound, offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, and add Jamal Clyce to that, the heart and soul of that. And I like to say those three, but Jamal, I almost call him a hybrid because you have him all over the floor, but
Yeah,
he's
he
going to,
is.
we're going to need to rebound as a team to really be successful. Would you agree?
I totally agree with you. We got to have those guys step up. We talked about their roles on Thursday before we played that game. We got to have them, be paint protectors. Got to have them be rim protectors. Got to have them rebound, and we got to get some scoring from them.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to do that. Lay and Giannis both are starting to get there. Eddie, is out right now dealing with an injury, and we don't know how long that's going to be. But I think we'll have to get some help next semester. With an addition that I'm not willing to talk about right now. But I think we'll get some help next semester with a very, very, very good player. And so I'm excited about that. Obviously, he's going to have to get acclimated, have to get in shape. But I think down the line, it's going to be great. And when we get Eddie back, that's going to be that much more depth in our front court, which is going to be really, really good.
Yeah. And, when I start talking about the wing players, another hybrid outside Jamal Clyce is Deshaun Joseph. He's another one. You can see it. You can see him starting to get his confidence together. He's going to be an important piece because when you can add Deshaun in to go with that front court, and sometimes if you can get him at the three to go with your other front court, that's what makes Clayton State really tough because Deshaun's at that 6'6", 6'7", and he brings he brings that length and athleticism that makes him a tough matchup as well.
Yeah. Uh, Deshaun is, like you said, he's getting better every game, getting more and more confidence. Uh, he's able to stretch the floor. He can shoot it. He can shoot it. He can handle it. And he defends very well. He defends very well, which helps us tremendously. And so, we're looking forward to his contributions and getting him more involved offensively. We're trying to get him more. Very few players today do you have to beg to take shots, but you have to beg him to take shots.
I look at that, and I think, like you said, he's trying to find his niche, so to speak. Like, okay, what role am I going to be a star in? So it's kind of like he's trying to fit in, and he's not trying to step on toes. Kind of when I look at what Deshaun's doing, but one person I do know you don't have to worry about that is Aaron Pitts.
Oh yeah,
Aaron Pitts. Aaron has so much potential. It's just one of those things where it's going to be consistency for Aaron, and he
that's
can't get
exactly right.
he can't get down on himself where
Oh my
it's not
goodness!
going his way because you can see it. You can see it, Coach.
Wow.
Between me
Now everybody
broadcast,
should know that you and I haven't talked about that, and that's
yes,
exactly an issue with him.
yes.
That's
And that, for me broadcasting, and even when I'm not broadcasting and I'm just sitting behind the bench, I pay attention to those small details of how players react, how their body language looks. I'm looking at all that, and I'm looking at him like, God, you are a really good player. You let that last play go and move on to the next. Like, you
yeah.
have the potential to be really good. And when he's on, he's on.
Yes, he is. He
And
has a hard time letting go, Dave. He
yeah,
has a hard time letting go.
yeah, you can see it. You can absolutely see it. And I'm like, man, going into Peach Belt, you're going to be needed. Like with him and JoJo, they make a tough combination. You got Marcus, you got DJ, you got, like I said, Ty coming off the bench. Man, you have some really good depth this year of guys that at any given time they can give you that boost of 9, 10, 15 points in the game. And sometimes when I'm broadcasting the games, I'm looking like I always look at the bench scoring because that always tells. There's two things for Clayton State that always tells me: the bench scoring and points in the paint. If we can keep that other team if we can manage points in the paint from the other team, we're in great shape. But
You're
it's
right.
always when Clayton State is successful, we're getting 25, 30 points from the bench.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Our bench has been so key and instrumental in us having the success we've had thus far. And we're working on those paint points. We're working on eliminating. I think the thing that helped us this last game is that we really did a great job. They were a very good 3-point shooting team,
Limited
and
them.
they really relied heavily on the three. And we did a really nice job of taking that away. So obviously they scored a little bit more in the paint, but we still held them to 68 points and one for like 12 or one for 13 from the three, something
From
like
three.
that.
Yeah.
So that was our goal to really lock up on that three. So we took that away, which obviously gave them a few more drives in the paint.
But also one of the stats, and I know you pay attention to this, we had a couple guys taking charges. We haven't had that much this year, and a couple of them charges, I was like, okay, this will help cut down on when we're running those guys off of threes and they're driving. Stand there and take it. I mean, that's going to be big. That counts as a stop. It's not
Yes,
always you
sir.
don't need that highlight block or a steal or whatever. That counts in that plus minus ratio that we always like to look at the end of the games.
Yeah, I want to say we took 3 or 4 charges, which, you
Mm-hmm.
know, JoJo Bell is very big on that, and Giannis Woods, that's something them guys learn. That's one thing they learned in JUCO. They took charges, man. You notice Lay Davis, who came from the same school, he'll take them too. They're
Mm-hmm.
not afraid to sacrifice their bodies for a charge.
And man, I want to step away from the team because I want to get your thoughts on what everybody is talking about this
Oh
week.
boy.
Everybody is talking about the new NCAA injunction, that with JUCO players, you can go to JUCO now and it not count against your 4 years of eligibility for 4 years. I want to ask Coach, what's your take on this? Because I have a couple questions for you on this one.
Man, Dave, the one thing that really, bothers me with this is how you going to manage this. You're going to go back, hey, if that's the case, Andre Anthony has 2 more years. I could use him right now. You know, if that's the case, I have 2 more years. I might want to go back and play.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's part of the equation for me is figuring all that out, the logistics of that. How far
Mhm.
back do you go? I mean, what about guys like Jalen Shaw, who's playing professional ball but played 2 years of JUCO?
Yeah.
Does he have 2 more years? It's those things that really concern me. Um, how far back do we go? Do we go to our current players? If we go to our current players, I just became a very, very young team. That means Lay Davis is a freshman. JoJo Bell is a freshman. Uh, Deshaun Joseph, freshman. That means that Aaron Pitts is a sophomore.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
uh, that I just became a very, very young team. So I'm just I want to know the logistics of this and the details of how they're going to iron those things out. You know, because you'll have everybody and their brother coming back saying, "Hey, I want my 2 years from when I played." If that's the case, Kobe Johnson can come back for 2 more years.
Yeah. And
You
so
know,
my thinking, and this is just my thinking. I'm thinking because it's an injunction that lets me know they're still trying to figure out, like you said, how to, present this to everybody. My money is on they take it back to COVID.
okay.
My money's on they take it back to COVID. If you had some type of eligibility, and I would have to say they take it back to COVID, and if you're still playing right
If
now.
you're still playing, see, and that's what I
Yeah.
think that's the best way to do it. You can't go back to guys who've already
Yeah.
left and they're done, and then you say, okay, now you can come back for 2 more years. I just can't. I
Yeah.
can't see that. You gotta, you have everybody coming back. You have guys coming back saying, "Shoot, I want to go back and play 2 more years."
Yeah.
And I just, if you're not playing currently, I don't think it should. You should have an opportunity to take advantage of this new injunction.
I agree. That's why I said I could see them taking this back to COVID. And if you're still playing, those to me, those are the two caveats that would make the most sense because, like you said, it would be a compliance nightmare.
Nightmare.
Complete nightmare. Like compliance departments would be so overwhelmed because their workload is already going to double and triple from this alone. But
Yeah,
if you got, like you said, Coach A got an All American that want to come back, you're like, yeah, I'm taking him.
I'm taking him back. I'm taking
Yeah.
Jay Shaw back.
That's what I'm saying. And
Mhm.
as a compliance person, they're gonna be looking at you like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I got to
Yeah,
go home at night.
I gotta go home, man.
Yeah. And so, but the other thing, like, even past that, it was already tough on high school kids.
It was
Oh man.
already tough.
Yeah, it was already tough. This just takes it to I and and I'll take your thoughts on this, coach. This basically is going to replace numerous post grads. New like your mom and pop
Post
post
grad is
grads.
done.
Yeah, it's done. And I'm going to tread lightly on that. I'm going to say mom and pops are done. IMG is going to survive.
Oh
NetSac is
yeah,
going to
yeah, yeah,
survive. Link Year is
yeah,
going to survive. Like those guys are going to survive, yes, because they'll
yeah.
figure out how to make this work for them. But
Hmm.
a lot of your local and regional post grads, it's over. Because why would I pay $5,000 or $10,000 where more than likely when this injunction hits, a JUCO can say, "Hey, come here. Your Pell is going to pay for, your schooling. If you're not ready, we'll redshirt you. You'll still have 2 more years."
2 more years.
Yeah. Why would I?
And
That
then you
that's a
got 4 years after that.
That's what I'm saying. That's a really good car salesman. If you can get somebody to give you $5,000 or $10,000 to go to post grad when this opportunity is on the board to go for free.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. And even if you get one, you're not going to be able to get 10 or 11 players to do that. That's like you
Yeah.
said, post grad, local and regional ones, they're going to have to really rethink this whole thing because either you merge or you do something where you're in conjunction with a JUCO. If not, if you don't get creative, and I don't know what that answer will be, it's time for you to start looking to do something else as a post grad director because you're just not going to be able to get 10 kids to give you
No, you're
5,000,
not.
25,000, 10,000, 15, 20. That's just not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah. But, like you said, from a coach, when I speak on this show, you know how big I am on education. There's no reason why you should not have a bachelor's with this type of setup.
There's no reason. There's
No
no
reason.
reason.
You're looking at anywhere from 6 to 8 years with red shirts. You really should have your master's. Let's just
All
put
these
it out
kids
there.
should have their masters. You're
Yeah.
exactly right.
You really should have your master's, but if somebody leaves a program after 2 or 3 years of JUCO and 4 or 5 years of four-year schooling and doesn't have their degree, the accountability is in the mirror, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Right? And because
I
I'm looking
totally
at
agree
this,
with you.
I'm looking at this coach like this is the positive of this. Like, figuring all this out, okay, it's gonna be tough. But once it's all instituted, I look at my son or anybody else, like my nephew. I'm looking at y'all like, hey, y'all walking out of here with masters,
With
not
master's
just no bachelors.
degrees.
Y'all walking out with masters.
With master's degrees, and that should be the case.
Exactly. And I listen. I'll take someone getting their bachelor's in 6 years. I'm fine with that, especially if it's a transfer coach. There are situations like when you transfer from a private to a public and your credits get slashed.
You
Okay,
get slashed. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
It happens.
yeah. I'll give that. I'm not here to say if you don't get your master's, you're a failure. No, because there's different scenarios and different stuff that plays out. You may be a guy that just needs 12 credits per semester so you can handle your workload. And again, I'm not here to say, but for you guys that excel in the classroom, there's no reason why not.
Yeah.
I just look at it like this is the opportunity to really take advantage because with college coach, some guys, they have to take out loans. And even when we get to D2 and NAI, and coach, this, where the budget doesn't afford to have 10 fools,
Yeah.
you have to start stacking. So sometimes, these kids got to come out of pocket, but in the same sentence, like you guys that are hope, you guys that are all of that, please take advantage. And I know I strayed away from the coaches show, but that right there, I mean, I know once it's laid out per se, and once Coach Alexander gets an understanding of what he can and can't do,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was also thinking about this, Dave. What does the eligibility change? Do you still have to graduate with your associates, to be
Good
eligible?
point. Yeah, that's a
Do
good
you have
point.
to have, do you go by the, still the 12 credits per semester? If you're qualified out of high school, is that going to play into it? They're pretty much trying to eliminate the rules for high school kids. So I just don't know how. There's a lot. There's a lot with this. that has to be explored and
And
looked
then
into.
the question becomes, Coach, is this I know they said effective immediately, but it's effective, yes, but you're operating of, like you just said, you don't know because it hasn't all been figured out. So when you say effective immediately, like, we both are on Twitter. You see JUCO's already out there promoting this. Come here.
Yeah,
And don't get me wrong, I don't blame them one bit. Like, you're
I don't
jumping
blame
on,
them either.
yeah, I would be doing the same thing, but we all don't know what the ramifications are yet. I mean, I got another question for you. Like, okay, and you can't answer this, but it's something to think about. We know guys go to D2s and D1s and D3s and NAIs. It doesn't work out. Is it going to be, hey, you need some more development? Go to this JUCO and then come back and see me.
Yeah, I mean that would probably be the case. Come to you for a year, and then say, hey, you need a little bit more development. Go to a JUCO for 2 more years, and then you
Mm-hmm.
come back and you still have 3 years.
Exactly. Exactly. There's so many unanswered questions of how this is going to work. And
Yeah,
then, like you said, the thing that scares me more than anything, we have guys with these multiple transfers. We can see guys transferring 6, 7, 8 times possibly.
yeah. Right.
Yeah,
It's
that's
unreal, man. It's
yeah,
unreal.
that's going to be tough. And again, that's a situational thing, of course. I'm not here to judge anybody on that, but now that NIL's involved in all of this, like, you're going to have some guys, the really good ones, that could transfer multiple times because they're trying to go to the highest bidder.
Highest bidder, and that's what's happening already. Guys are going to the highest bidder.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
losing money. You're losing players that you developed, that you worked with, that you took a chance on when nobody else would. Come in, they get better, and then now they're going, hey, I can go get a little bit of money from this school, so let me go here. Oh, I did even better. They're going to offer me even more here, so let me
Mhm.
transfer here now. It's
That's
just
going to be a whole nother. And boy, you just opened up a can of worms I didn't even think about. Like, we know the Peach Belt is one of the premier D2, conferences in the country. And with this, it's when I think of D1's recruiting, they already hit the Peach Belt hard every year.
yeah,
We know if you all conference, your phone is going to be ringing. We
yep.
know that.
You already know.
And now we're to the point, if you're not all conference, it's still ringing.
It's
Which,
still ringing.
I mean, it speaks volumes for the Peach Belt, yes. But is that going to be the new norm now? Like, okay, yes, you can go JUCO, but how does that affect? Is it going to be like now D2 is going to be, we were getting to that point anyway, but is D2 going to be technically the new JUCO, coach?
Yeah, it's sort of getting to that point, like you said already. That we're the new JUCO. It's already there.
That's a lot.
That's a
That's a
lot,
lot.
man.
And I always like to boast I had the best seat in the house. And whether it's Clayton State or the opponent, when I look at certain kids, I'm like, oh, he can play D1. He can play D1.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain, especially the really good kids, like when you play this good schedule, and I look at a number of these kids, whether it's Young Harris, North Georgia, Edward Waters, you look at these kids and be like, yeah, he can play D1. And some of them
Mm-hmm.
are already D1 drop downs. Let me be clear on that. But I I just really think it affects you all in so many more ways because they're already coming after your players. And if they looking half decent or, looking like they're seasoned now, or to your point, we know Coach A and Coach Anthony are developers. I'm going through that. I'm going through all of Clayton State synergy. I'm going through it this year.
Every year. Yep.
Exactly. I'm looking at how he looked his freshman year versus his sophomore year. I'm like, oh, he didn't got a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's something you wouldn't want to hear, but that's the unfortunate business aspect of you're proven. Your resume speaks for itself, and you're known to do that. Why wouldn't I keep an eye on your players every year?
Yeah, yeah.
Why wouldn't I? I mean, now, yes, that affects your recruitment because, you may have certain needs that you're looking for. Now you got an unexpected need because somebody got offered
Of
five,
some
10,
departure.
fifteen
Yep.
thousand dollars. Yeah. And they come to you like, Coach, I hope you understand they threw me $30,000.
Yep. I gotta go.
I gotta go. I mean,
Yeah, it's unfortunate that
yeah.
it's all about money now rather than about tradition and culture and loyalty. It's just, but it started with coaches, coaches, jumping from job to job for
Yep.
money,
Hmm.
and they're leaving, they're leaving kids because they did a good job and, had a good season. And so somebody offered them a little bit more money and they left. So it
Yeah.
started with us coaches, and set a trend. Now it's down to the players.
Coach, let me ask this as we get back on topic. It's conference time now. It's conference time. Peach Belt is rugged and raw. Any given day, a team can get you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be ready starting January 4th against USC Buford, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to be your expectation? You know the Peach Belt Conference very well from your time here, from your time at USC Aiken. What are you going to tell the kids to get them ready for them to understand like this is no game?
We've had the same message all year. There's nobody out there wanting it more than us and wanting it for us but us. So we got to go out every game and we got to play our hardest, our smartest, and we got to play together. We got to stay humble. We got to stay hungry the entire season. You know, um, it's a very competitive conference with some outstanding coaches. We got to go out there and we got to compete every night as if we're playing a championship game. Can't say, um, we're playing Buford, who we beat last year. Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. You got to come out every game with the same mindset. We're out here to play our hardest, play together, play our smartest, and win this game. And that's our message. It's been our message all year. Every game. Nobody wants it like we do, and nobody cares about us but us. So these teams are trying to beat us, and we need to be ready. And I believe that we will be there. Between this coaching staff and Jamal Kleiss, DJ Wright, I believe we'll be there.
I believe it too. I think this is going to be such an exciting year for you guys because like I said, they had you picked towards the bottom, but after watching November and December, I wholeheartedly believe like Clayton State is going to be mid level to upper level this year. I mean,
Yeah.
and you're going to continue to take those strides. And, it's already understood, like, because of your resume, everybody understands like you cannot sleep on a Vince Alexander team. But in the same sentence, it's getting the kids to continue to keep buying in and to keep playing consistently. Like, we can't have, the high, we knocked off a team that
Yeah.
might have
You
been
come in,
favored and then
yeah,
come
come in
back
and
and
knock
land
off one of
a
those teams and
yeah,
come back and go, we beat them, so we okay. No. Every
yeah.
night. Every night has to be the same.
I agree with that. And it's getting once you get them to playing that consistent basketball like that, when we talk, whether it's post-game interviews or just in general, I always say the same thing. When I see a big win, I'm like, okay, coach, definitely happy. Want to keep that momentum continue to roll because it's like just getting these kids to understand like who you playing next. They be like, okay, y'all won, but we trying to win too. And that consistency part, once they get that, that's where it's game time. I feel like I feel like Clayton State will be in a great position where they understand consistency every game, every game.
Yes. Yes.
And so, I'm excited for this season, for the rest of the season, and we'll be talking more about the this JUCO injunction because, boy, that's man, it changes your whole recruiting, coach. Like you said, you just went from now I got some guys that may be leaving to, like you said, now those guys may be freshmen or sophomores now. So
Yeah, like what do you do now? I mean, you pretty much got your whole team back now.
and so now you know how many people hit you on a regular basis. Coach, I got a kid. You may be going into this like, I got one opening.
One
Maybe
open.
two. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
it's it's crazy. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, but we'll see, and we'll be
listen,
ready either way.
absolutely. Coach, I don't want to keep you too long. It's the holiday. I know you're there with your family. Tell the wife and kids I said hello. Man,
Thank you,
please
Daddy.
enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your New Year. I do know, you all be back at it right around the first, ready to get back and rolling for the new year. But enjoy your time at home, and we'll get back to this after the new year. Probably that before the USC Buford game. So we'll get back
Okay.
at this before the 4th. And
Okay.
man, enjoy yourself. And I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule away from your family and coming on the show. And we'll be back next year to do this again.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate you
Definitely.
very much.
Absolutely. So
Have a great Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. That's going to do it for tonight. Coach Alexander was gracious enough to come on and, take a little time away from his Christmas shopping and talk Clayton State basketball. But people understand Clayton State is a movement. Clayton State is moving in the right direction. And it's now not me just continuing to harp on it. Now it's just see for yourself. Come out to a game, see for yourself and understand, and especially for you guys that don't understand the level of D2 basketball, there's a number of D1 players that can't play on this level. And I'm not saying D2 is better than D1. I'm not saying that. But there's guys that had the misconception like, oh, it didn't work out here at D1. I'm going to drop down and kill. No, you're not. No, you're not. And some will. And some will do very well because there are D1 drop downs that do well. But there's some that have the misconception, oh, I'm D1. I'm going to go to this D2 and put up 30 a game. You're not going to do that
Not that
all
easy.
the time. Yeah, it's not that easy. I mean, there's some of these guys that are just as D1 players, and I want to keep talking about the importance of people understanding the levels of this and how it's closing of how D2 basketball is getting better and better. Shoot, D3 basketball is getting better and better. NAIA basketball is getting better and better. So whatever level you go to, just be thankful you have an opportunity because – Coach, this is going to be about 2,500 to 3,000 kids in the portal. Now you got the whole JUCO situation. You got international kids who are getting better and better. It's getting tough. Like these opportunities are not to be taken for granted. Would you agree?
I totally agree with you, Dave.
Definitely. So, Coach, go enjoy yourself. Open up your presents in a couple of days. And we'll talk soon, okay?
All right. Take care, man. God bless.
All right. That God bless you too. That'll do it for tonight. I'm your host, David Jones, on the CSU Lakers show for the Loch. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. Good night.